morning, 10 o'clock. Now, I screwed up last week. We're going to try to have this show every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and I just had a senior moment where I just plain forgot. I'd like to come up with some excuse, but that's really what happened. So, Molly, Mark, good to see you guys.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So, again, we all got together. Again, Molly's I'm going to get this wrong again, registered dietitian or?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it? Perfect.
Yes.
And Mark's just Mr. Everything. He can bend quarters. He's at an event last night where he bent a quarter with a magician and everything. So trains everybody from all over like the 15 universes he works on.
16 now.
16 universes you're working on now? Okay, excellent. Very good. Yeah. All right, guys, good to see you again.
Same here.
All right, Molly, I'm going to ask you a question first. I was doing some meal prepping this morning, made some hash browns and some mushrooms, and I was using my cast iron skillet. So I've heard multiple stories, people saying that you can't use soap on a cast iron skillet. You clean it with salt or whatever. I want to get your opinion.
Yeah, and I see Mark shaking his head, so maybe he wants to weigh in as well. Well, number one, I should start out and say I absolutely love cast iron skillets. I have 4 of them, and I cook with them every single day. Yeah, literally, it is something I use every day. I think everything tastes better in one. But to answer your question about cleaning them, you do want to minimize using soap on them. Now, I have to say, and I don't know if you've ever cooked something where you're like, yeah, this just absolutely needs some soap. And anyhow, so yes, you want to, after you're done cooking, let it cool down. You could even put some water in as the pan's still warm to kind of loosen up anything that might be stuck on it. And then one of the best ways to dry them too is to put it back on the stove once you've cleaned it and just over a low heat and just let the heat kind of evenly dry it. And if you feel like it's looking, they can almost look like, I don't know to say dull, that might be gray, dull. If you take a little bit of olive oil and just do a drizzle and take a paper towel and just kind of wipe it across the surface, that will kind of seep in and kind of reinvigorate the cast iron, if you will, getting it ready for your next use. But
okay, so if you do use soap, that soap is going to be soaked in like right into the pot then, right? Is that the theory?
It could, I suppose, if you really like left it in there. If I ever have to use soap, I do a little drizzle, get it off the pan as quick as possible, and then dry it in the method I was telling you. But usually you can really just get it cleaned up nice without.
So, Mark, you're dead against soap, aren't you?
Well, yeah, because of what Molly's saying, but also because the skillet is seasoned, right? And you don't want to lose that. But the soap will become part of the seasoning is what the issue is. Okay. So, the way I utilize the skillet, and like Molly says, we use it a lot here. And what I'll do is I'll cook the protein, right? And then usually there's some residual fat from the protein. And then I'll just add, if I need to, a little bit more olive oil, but I'll put the asparagus or green beans that are pre-cooked a little bit, throw them in there, and they pick up all the flavoring from whatever protein you're making. And it's a fantastic way to do a one skillet dinner, because you could do the protein, you could do your vegetables and whatever starch you're doing that night. Yeah. And it just doesn't beat the flavor you get, right, Molly? And so one-stop shopping. You put it all in there, and then you're done. You got one thing to clean. As Tom says, clean as you cook.
It's funny. I start saying this stuff. I don't realize I'm saying it all the time, and then it becomes this thing that I'm surprised Beth hasn't painted it in front of me in the kitchen, because she's always like, remember what Tom says. Yeah, it is funny, right? Because if you don't clean as you cook, at the end of the meal, a lot of people look at the kitchen and go,
piled up.
Clean up here, yeah. Problem with me is I'll over clean. Like if I have to use something twice, I'll go put it back in the cabinet, and then I got to go back and get it back. It's not a big deal, but it's just like
I've been guilty of that too.
Tom, you want to know something funny? So hearing you describe, because I watch a bunch of your videos, and the other way I hear clean as you cook is also you're literally your eating routine is only as clean as you cook.
Yeah, very true.
Not like physically the process of cleaning, but more like my brain just always goes to nutrients. So
yeah, totally. No, that's a good point. Excellent point. Okay, I could ask you a question. I had a debate with my oldest son the other day. He's high on salt. I've been trying to limit my salt. Where are we at with that?
Oh, this is a really good question. It's a little hard to answer generically because it really depends. And I'm going to like take you back to your playing days, Tom, right? You're sweating pounds and pounds of fluid a day in practice. The number one electrolyte lost in sweat is sodium. So athletes, if anybody's watching that, if you're exercising multiple hours a day, losing pounds and pounds of sweat, you absolutely need sodium in your eating intake, to the point of even where I recommend for my pro and elite athletes that they're shaking salt on their foods at meals, for example. Okay. Now, if you're kind of dialing it back, doing an hour, let's say, or less workout a day, moderate salt intake is fine. You don't need to be overdoing it. And 2,300 milligrams, or about 1 teaspoon of salt per day, is like a general, for healthy people, a recommendation guideline.
Cool. So one of the things, Tom, that to Molly's point, you're vigorously exercising, you're sweating, is pickle juice. It's one of the best ways to, it's a fantastic way to rehydrate and get all your sodium and electrolytes.
Just grab a jar of pickle juice?
Yeah. So actually the University of Alabama, because they train and it's really hot when they're doing their summer training, that's what they serve up on the field, pickle juice. Yeah.
Can I give a little product shout out? I just talked to guys who just are launching this new product for a line of pickles called Sucker Punch, Sucker Punch. And they came up with these little pickle juice shots in a little 2-ounce bottle. You can also buy it in like larger containers, but it's such a cool product. It also has electrolytes added to it. So it's kind of doing a 2-for-1 instead of just having literally pickle juice brine. And I am so weird. To me, I absolutely love pickle juice. It is, I think, it just is tart. If you're running or really having a lot of endurance exercise, that tartness it's awesome. Anyhow, so little shout out. I have no affiliation, but I met the guys, and it's a really cool product.
So you can just go buy a jar of pickle juice.
Sure.
The pickles. Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. So let me get this straight. That a pickle is a cucumber. That's isn't it like vinegar?
Yeah, vinegar and salt, and sometimes sugar, like if they're a sweeter pickle. But
one of the things that I want to ask Molly this, but I'm under the understanding that you can't rely on sea salt by itself as your source of salt, because you need table salt for the iodine, because iodine is not in sea salt. So you need to. What's the mix? What's the ratio, you think, Molly, on that?
Well, here's the tricky part, Mark, is processed foods in our food supply.
I don't know what that means.
Breads.
No. What I mean by that is I don't eat any of it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So people who are eating processed foods like crackers, breads, you're getting enough iodine in the salt that's in those types of products. If you are not eating processed foods and doing mostly fruits, vegetables, grains, then adding in some table salt to make sure you're getting the iodine, which prevents goiters, is definitely important.
It prevents what? I apologize.
It's goiters, which is like where you get a lump in your neck. And it could become problematic to your overall health, but that would be a really dramatic example. There's so much salt in our food supply that most people don't run into that. But you do want to watch out. Sea salt does not have iodine. It's got trace minerals, which is beneficial. But you do want a balance. And I would say, Mark, like to your question of like maybe half and half even.
It's about what I probably 2/3, a third, more or less. Yeah, around there. Yeah.
I'm still hung up on the whole pickle juice thing. That's the first time I heard that. That's cool.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. I made a critical error one morning. I came out of the gym in the middle of the summer. It was 6 a.m., 7 a.m. It was really brutally hot. And I went into a quick check and I went to grab some water and I saw frozen pickle juice. I go, there you go. It was like a pop.
Oh,
I think it was disgusting only because it was a very confusing. You have something that is an ice pop and you're expecting something like a treat, and it was pickle, and it was like that's a no-go for sure.
So so it's got the vinegary taste then, right? Is that
no? It tastes like a pickle.
Like salty.
Yeah, you're drinking a pickle, really.
Yeah.
I've
got an issue with pickles for some reason. I never have eaten pickles. I didn't know what it is, a texture thing
really?
or something. Yeah. So they're pretty healthy then, obviously.
Very healthy.
So what is the best liquid to drink for hydration then?
Water.
Well, water, but if you've lost and the thing about pickles, it's a fermented food. Fermented foods, sauerkraut, pickles, right, Molly, are really important to your gut bio.
Well, yeah, I know,
and your butt too. But really good for your gut health.
Oh, very cool. All right, Molly, you promised us you're going to show us some of your supplements that you use, and we're going to have a little debate on one of those. Okay, so show us what you got. Show us what you got.
Yeah, I'm going to roll in. Hold on, because I like visuals.
Yeah,
I'm rolling in my little cart.
Nice.
My cart of goodies for you guys.
Oh, it's a little shopping cart.
Oh, it is. It's a little shopping cart. There we go. But before I dive into the actual products, I intentionally have fruits and vegetables,
right.
And I put another one of my favorite, like, it's not a supplement, but foods, kefir or kefir, which is a probiotic beverage that we could talk more about. But
yes, let's get after
why I intentionally put foods in the cart is because when athletes come to me and they say, what product, what pill, what powder should I take? But they're not checking the box on their fruits, their vegetables, their eating routine. Honestly, you're just wasting your money dealing with any of these other products until you get your eating routine down.
Okay.
So that's just why, as a kind of the foundation of the cart, I have the fruits and the vegetables and these other things, because it's really, really, really important that you hit those check boxes before you're spending $40 a container.
Okay, so let's just get that straight. So you can have all the supplements, good supplements that you want, but if you're not getting your fruits and vegetables, it really doesn't matter.
No. And I've seen athletes over the years playing top of their game, super talented, and until we get their eating routine solid, they're getting injured. They're not recovering quickly. They're getting sick throughout the season. And you can be the best guy on the bench or the roster or gal. And if you're getting sick and injured all the time, you're not helping yourself or your team. But
very cool. Very cool. All right, let's get after it here. What are your supplements? Okay, I want to talk about this one here. There you go. Amino Energy. So it's the amino acids.
Yep.
Right. And it's got like a green tea caffeine in there, right?
Yep. And what I love about this product, number one, I'm going to spin over here. If you can see that little green check mark, informed choice.
Yeah.
So if you are taking any sort of energy drink type thing, it's like buyer beware, because they're actually, supplements are not regulated like medicines and foods. And it is like the Wild West. They can put anything in that. Yeah. It can say what they want on the label. But that green check mark, this is one third-party verification called informed choice. So it's telling you what's in the product is actually in there. So if you're going to take any sort of energy product, they sell this in a drinkable can as well. What I like about this is it's only 50 milligrams of caffeine per scoop. So there's so many products coming out right now that are like 200, 300 milligrams, which is like 2 or 3 cups of coffee worth of caffeine. And you do not need that much. It's going to leave you feeling jittery. Your stomach's going to be off. It's just, this is a moderate amount of caffeine. It's got the electrolytes in it, plus the amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. And it's a great pre-workout. This is personally what I keep on hand for myself, but it's my go-to recommendation. And
again, you can control the caffeine by how many scoops you have as well, right?
Yeah.
I use that. I loved it, but I have that little Yucca app where you scan it. It tells you about all the additives. And it was saying there's too many additives and preservatives in it. Now that's that one that's, better.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, additives and preservatives, we definitely want to minimize them. But if you're going to be having a product that's hydrating your body, that's delivering the the amino acids, that's delivering the electrolytes for your fluid balance, and you get a little sucralose is the sweetener, for example, and there are some gums in this product, which is just what keeps it from it makes it all work when you mix it in your drink.
Right.
In the big picture of your overall eating routine, I'm not worried about that in one tiny little scoop. If everything you were eating was that, process, then we've got to.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So anything else? Mark, what do you use for? Mark, what do you use? Just jumping really quick, you use pre-workout.
So Vitamin Shoppe has a their own brand, Body Tech, I believe it is. I use their pre-workout. Mm-hmm. It's it's got some caffeine, obviously, and it also has some other like citrulline. I know you're big on that, Tom.
Yeah.
And some other products in there that it gives you a little boost. It helps your blood flow. Might increase your NO2 a little bit. I'm not sure. Nitric, and we don't all know, but Molly knows. And nitric oxide is a very important. Very important for cardiovascular health and so on.
But what's a good source of that? What's a good source? Is there a natural source of that?
Beets.
Okay. Beets are beets in and of itself, Molly would agree, is a really excellent food choice. The only thing is the next day everything's red.
That's all right.
But beets and that Beets, what is it? There's a very popular brand. I forget what it is. Super Beets, I believe it is.
Love Beets.
Yeah. So there's a lot, and you can get that in a powder form as well. Just mix with water. But so that's what I do, and it gives me. I think it's not too bad. It's like 150 milligrams of caffeine, a little bit over a cup of coffee. But to me, I'm not a coffee drinker per se. I do drink it, but what I like about it, it's really quick and easy and bang, you're ready to go. Pretty short period of time. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, Molly, get her going. What do you after that? What do you got?
One quick more pre-workout talk. I don't know, as far as folks listening, I generally don't recommend caffeine for anyone until they're 13 or older. So I'm just going to throw that out there too. So if you have kids, I know this is a battle. We have 14 and 16-year-old boys here at my husband and I here at our house. And yeah, it's a constant battle, but not until they're 13 or older do you want to introduce that to them.
Yeah, if I could interject on that point, you really need to read labels. And this is one of the things I always talk at hockey schools to the kids. When you're drinking any fluid, read the label, because they don't realize it's maybe more than one serving. So like Gatorade will say, I say, how many grams of sugar? 14. But yeah, how many servings? It's 2.5 servings. So you're getting more than you think. And then with the caffeine, I know, and I'll talk off the air to you, Tom, but there's a player we know, real great guy, but he didn't really drink caffeine. And in the playoffs, he drank one of those, and this is going back a while, but an energy drink. On the bench, he thought he was having a heart attack. He actually went into the locker room. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Very cool. All right, Molly, what do you got?
What am I next? This is a question I get all the time. Creatine.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep. And this is like my magic if you do need to put muscle weight on. And this little guy, this blue circle, if you can see that, NSF, that's another third-party verification. So this line, Clean Athlete, is all their stuff is third-party verified NSF. In fact, like in the NHL, for example, you can only stock NSF certified products because it means they're free of banned substances. So if you see creatine that's like super cheap and you're like, oh, this will be great. You don't know what's in the container. My other tip on creatine is, so creatine, what it does is basically load your muscles with phosphocreatine, which is explosive power for the start of your workout. And that's why it helps you build muscle. But when you store phosphocreatine in your muscle, also goes water. So sometimes people say I feel heavy when I take creatine, or, oh, it's just water weight that you gain with creatine. If you just take creatine and don't work out, you're not going to, there will be no benefit. It's not even worth it. If you're working out and you're getting that explosive repeat power day after day, you're going to gain muscle when you're taking creatine. However, when you come off of it, you can expect to lose. I usually see about 3 pounds loss with players when they stop taking creatine, because I usually recommend it only in the off season to put muscle on. Because of, again, it kind of makes your muscles feel heavy. I don't love it for speed and power sports in season.
So creatine doesn't build the muscle. It gives you the ability to build the muscle.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what happens is the powerhouse in the cell is adenosine triphosphate. It's a 3 molecule, and one breaks off and it goes down to ADP or diphosphate.
Oh, come on. You're showing off now. You're showing
no,
off.
But what happens is you in your cell you have available phosphate. It grabs a phosphate molecule, reconverts to ATP for further energy, but that depletes rather quickly. So the creatine, if you think of it this way, it soaks your cell with more available phosphate. So your anaerobic or your ability to do something powerful, as Molly mentioned, you're increasing the length of time you could do it and also the recovery time. So there's no anabolic or androgenic property to it. If anybody's worried about that, none whatsoever. It just gives you the ability to, plainly stated, to work harder.
Cool. Cool. Very good. Very good.
Well, you got to work. That's the key thing. I sometimes have players who take it and then, they're not staying diligent with their workout routine. Like, it's not going to do anything for you other than make your muscles feel heavy if you don't put in the time in the gym.
Yeah, it doesn't have any anabolic or any androgenic properties to it at all.
Cool. Yeah. Interesting. What do you got, Mike? What's next?
Vitamin D3. Now, I live in upstate New York. You guys live in the Northeast as well. And we don't get a lot of sunlight here in the winter. And that is a key thing, at least my perspective, and you guys can weigh in. But vitamin D3 makes sense to layer in the winter, helps your immune system stay strong and healthy. And how much to take? 1,000 IUs a day will get the job done. It's over what you technically need. The max you'd ever want to take in a day is up to 5,000. That is the absolute ceiling. One of my favorite sayings, you like clean as you cook, Tom. I like if some is good, more is not better. So if we say take 1,000, it doesn't mean, 5,000 will be perfect. You can overdo it on some of these things for sure.
So you do get vitamin D from being in the sun naturally, correct?
It's the only way you get it.
Right. Other than these.
Sunlight hits your skin. Yeah. And milk is fortified with vitamin D as well. So you can get it a little from your food supply. But there's very little naturally occurring sources of vitamin D in our food supply.
Very cool. Very cool. Excellent. Good to know. So are you concerned, so somebody's concerned about skin cancer, but they're out in the sun? Like if you're using sunscreen, are you now limiting how much vitamin D you're getting?
You do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely a delicate balance.
Yeah.
You want to, I've read anything. It depends on the amount of your body that's exposed, but even 20 minutes a day of sun exposure is enough to refill, so to speak, your vitamin D levels. Cool. And it acts kind of like a hormone in our body. In fact, there's theories that vitamin D actually is more of a hormone than a vitamin, but when you take in vitamin D, it's not like it's just going to keep building up when the sun's hitting your skin. Like your body regulates it like it regulates other hormones in our body. But when you're taking in supplemental sources, that's where you can kind of get into a overdoing it situation.
Okay, cool. All right, what's next, Molly?
BioSteel. This is another NSF product. And BioSteel, this one doesn't actually have the blue circle. It just is a little circle there. Right. BioSteel is a no sugar. It does have sugar substitutes in it. Stevia is what this uses. It does use red beet powder to color it, this pink one. But this is a really good in-sport electrolyte drink. It's a product I've used for a long time. And it's fun to see how the brand's grown. Now you can buy BioSteel, tons of different products. But this is a good in-game hydration. I like it because it's the low sugar. You really don't need the added sugar until you're an hour of consistent effort or longer. So people who are running Ironmans, who are doing really long endurance type things, need the added sugars to keep their blood sugar levels up and their performance. But if you think about most sports, hockey's playing 25 minutes, that would be a lot in a game, right? So you don't need the added sugar on the bench to fuel your performance.
Very cool.
So that's Matt Nichols, a buddy of mine. He had been the strength coach for Toronto.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. I spent
He's with
sometime
Ottawa
last year.
now too. He's jumped on as their performance director.
Yeah, he's a tremendous guy. Really, I spent some time in Russia with him. We had a blast. But to your point, when we do the Navy SEAL swim, right? So it's a very hot day. Usually, they're burning up a lot of calories. They're losing a lot of hydration because of salt water. So the way we run it, Molly, I don't know if you're familiar, but they start in New Jersey. They swim to the Statue of Liberty. I have a barge there. They come up on the barge. They have to do 100 push-ups and 22 pull-ups. Then they go to Ellis Island, repeat the process. And on those barges, of course, we have water and we have Gatorade, but we also have gels that will replenish a lot of the same things that the BioSteel product would do. And it's critically important because they can't function without it. They start breaking down.
Yeah.
Cool. What's in the cart? Shopping cart. Yeah.
Last but not least, it didn't fit in my shopping cart actually, but is a protein powder. So you can absolutely get enough protein without a protein powder. If you are choosing a protein powder, just like with the other products, like this guy here is that NSF again, Vega Sport. This one I like because it's pea protein based. So, you know, a lot of times athletes take whey protein, which is a very efficient protein to take as well. But they're eating so much animal product. I like layering in, if they like the taste of it, a vegan or vegetarian protein product just to mix it up. And Vega, this is a fantastic tasting product. And it's got 30 grams of protein per scoop. And then mix it in, add in your banana and some, you know, some liquid of your choice, like a chocolate almond milk, and you get a nice carb to protein ratio and refuel. So protein powder is like an after workout refuel.
Okay, that's a good point. Is there, like some people say you got to have within 90 minutes of your workout? Is that accurate?
Well, you're going to keep refueling. So it's really interesting. If you look at a minute 0, you stop working out. It's like a straight line up for the first like 30 minutes of replenishment back to your muscles and you're replenishing glycogen back to your muscles. And it doesn't mean that if you wait 60 minutes or 90 minutes that the refueling stops. It's just not like your body when you stop working out is ready to refuel. So you're just missing an optimal window. 30 minutes is actually like, if you can tolerate consuming something that quickly is ideal. But the refueling window just keeps going. You know, some people say 2-hour window, but even if you look 6 hours out, that next meal, that next snack, you're still replenishing and refueling for your next workout or your next day.
Is collagen peptide, is that a protein?
Yeah. So collagen is a very interesting product. And I don't know, Mark, if you have any thoughts on it. There's more and more research coming out. The tricky part with collagen is when you take it in, it's not like it can aid in recovery. I'm going to put it out that way. But it's not a miracle. So I think it's one of those things that it's a tool, but it can't be a crutch or a replacement for other recovery methods. And Mark, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's more it's about connective tissue, Tom. So your ligaments and your tendons, your skin. But again, it's not. It's a good supplement to utilize, but it's not going to be something that's going to be your mainstay, so to speak.
Right. And some of the reading I saw was that you have to take it over a long period of time for it to be effective too. Right?
Well, I truly believe anything is a 90-day window before you really,
really,
yeah. I mean, other than going the other route with anabolics, but I mean, any type of supplement, and this is my opinion, takes somewhere between 60 to 90 days. Some may as little as 30, but on average, I would say 60 to 90 days before you really start to see the benefits. Yeah.
So with all this stuff,
even Tom, I don't mean to interrupt, but even creatine, there's a preloading phase. So you'll do for the first 3, if you've never done it, the first 3 days, you want to saturate the body with like 5 servings per day. And then you can, after that point, go to the recommended, whatever the label tells you.
Very cool. This is a good show. I like this. Very informative, you two. Very good. Nice. I like that. So let me ask you one last question, and both of you guys. So there's some people say, well, if you eat all the right foods, you don't need any supplements at all. Do you believe in that?
It depends. I don't know if you want to go first, Mark, or I can, but.
Well, no, I think it's possible, but so what are we talking about? If we're an athlete, we want to make sure that we cover all the bases, right, Molly? So maybe we're probably a little bit more supplement driven because of time considerations and the availability after training, doing a shake right away after that. In general, I don't, and I think Molly would agree, the American diet just doesn't provide enough in general. And it's very difficult. And you've really got to do your research and you got to really adhere to it because it's very, like, for instance, yesterday, because of my schedule, I don't think I consumed enough greens. So today I'm going to go green happy, So you kind of, you got to look at it from that standpoint, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think, though, kind of back to the point I made at the start and why in my shopping cart I have that foundation of fruits and vegetables and the kefir, and you need food first and supplements. And I like how you said, Mark, today you're going to kind of go green happy because yesterday they were kind of missing, is always look, what can I get from food first? And then the supplements are really, as the word intends, is to supplement your eating routine. And certainly I have others in my toolbox for pro athletes that I definitely will pull out depending on kind of what their challenges might be or where they're at in their training and recovery. But yeah, it's got to be a food first focus, and supplements, though, certainly do have a role to help you check all the boxes.
Very cool.
I think it's very difficult for young athletes in general. If they walk into a GNC, I don't even know if they're around, but a vitamin shop, they're overwhelmed because there's, thousands of choices. And, they all serve their own particular, or they don't. Some are just not necessary at all, but in general, most of them serve a particular purpose. And it's your job to work with someone like Molly to find out what you need based upon your energy demands and what you're doing.
That is the thing, right? If you were to take all the supplements that people recommend, like you'd be taking supplements all day long, right? You really got to pick and choose, like your healthy lifestyle, whatever it is.
And it's really a factor of, if you're peeing Day-Glo green, you're probably, because it's all water soluble stuff, you're not absorbing any of it,
Right.
And that therein another telltale factor, I think. Yeah.
So you learn your pee color.
Well, I don't know who it was, but somebody said Americans have the most expensive urine on the planet because of what we expel.
Hey guys, this is a great show. I like this kind of stuff. Very informative. I learned a lot of stuff there. That whole pickle juice thing, I'd never heard of that before. Very cool. All right, everybody. Very good. We'll see you next. What's that?
Fun stuff. Thanks so much, Tom, for coordinating.
Yes, good stuff.
Good. We'll see you next week, everybody. We'll get our schedule here, 10 o'clock every Tuesday. See you guys.
Catch you later.